Hello, it's Peak FM Mornings with Woody Powers and Bobby Adon.
It's about time you hosted. I got tired of hosting every day.
But you were a good host.
Nah.
We won awards with you hosting.
Yeah.
Sadly, it's not Peak FM Mornings, but we are still good friends, and we get to do this now on my podcast. Welcome to Bobby's podcast. Thank you so much to Woody Powers for being a special guest on my show, but I'm going to let him lead because we're going to be talking about something that is, I don't think anybody would ever want to be in this position, right?
No. So, I don't know if you saw the story. It is one of the strangest stories of the year, but there was a couple that, I think they were boyfriend and girlfriend, and they were flying...
Living in sin?
Yes, as my grandmother would say.
Yes. Shout out to Lily, may she rest in peace.
I can't believe you remember my grandma's
and her
name.
chicken talon casserole.
All right, quick side note. My grandmother cooked with every part of the chicken, and that did include the talon. She would eat the feet. Pretty gross.
And Woody's real name, just so you know, off radio is Paul. So she would yell typically, "Paul, not till you finished your chicken talons."
And you're not that far off because anything that was at the table you had to eat. Oh. So she would make this horrible chicken noodle soup, and
with the talons.
I didn't have to eat the talons, thank goodness, but it had everything else. It had like liver and heart and all of that. Okay. And so she wouldn't let you leave until she could see the ceramic rooster that was painted in the bottom of the bowl.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. And it was hard to choke that stuff down. Anyway, there's a couple, a crazy story. They were flying on Qatar Airlines, and I always pronounce it...
Isn't it Qatar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like to pronounce
Qatar?
it. Yeah, it sounds funner. I mean, wouldn't you want to be on an airline called Qatar Airlines?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With Mick Jagger?
Oh, yeah. Like in
all the rock stars.
Frontier has the animals on the tail.
Yes.
They could put rock stars on the back of it.
We totally just came up with a genius business idea.
Anyway, they were flying somewhere in Europe to another place in Europe trying to get a romantic getaway. And at the beginning of the flight, a woman, I believe, had a heart attack. And they tried to revive her.
Oh, no.
And they couldn't, and sadly, she passed away.
Oh, so she passed away in mid-flight?
Yes, in mid-flight. Here's where
Do you think she had a fear of flying? Did they say any background?
No. I think she was
conditions?
just older and it was natural causes.
God said it was time.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is God. It's your time.
I'm going to save you from a rough landing. Anyway. We're not joking about the woman. We're joking about the circumstance.
This is real comedy, okay? We digress.
Okay. So anyway, they didn't do anything with the woman except cover her with blankets. And this couple that was on a romantic getaway was sitting right next to her. And they refused to move the woman, and I don't know where they would have anyway.
To the storage
I don't think they
space.
have protocol. Well, I don't know. That's kind of weird.
What about a little galley area in the back, like by the
That's
lavatories?
what I was thinking. But then again, you've got the flight crew back there, and then I don't know.
And then people going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Watch your step. So, what do you do with that? That's a horrible scenario to be in.
Apparently there were open seats in the flight, and they would not let the couple move.
Why?
I don't know. Nobody can explain
come
it.
on.
So Qatar Airlines apologized and said, sorry if this affected your romantic getaway. And I'm like, that's not enough.
They just issued an apology?
Yeah. They
no
said,
flight credits?
Nope.
Okay.
They just said, sorry. You know
what this reminds me of is when in Vacation, when, who's it, Aunt Edna?
Yes, Aunt Edna.
When she passes away, they put a blanket over her and put her on the top of the
top
vehicle.
of the vehicle, yes.
That's kind of the same thing, but they did it in the flight chair, I guess,
right.
or the seat.
It was like Weekend at Bernie's, but at 30,000 feet in the air, and it was not fun. There wasn't a bit of comedy in the entire thing.
I saw, speaking of TikTok, I saw a TikTok video that they said more often than not, you're unaware of you're actually flying with a lot of corpses because typically they're transporting bodies sometimes.
And that's fine. As long as they don't tell me. Like if the pre-flight announcements tell you how many bodies are on board the plane, that's going to freak me out a little bit.
Or if the pilot comes on and there's like really bad turbulence. Have you seen all the horrible accidents that have been happening lately?
Yes.
So that's part of the scary part. But if this sort of thing happens and the pilot's like, ladies and gentlemen, the turbulence is pretty bad and a lot of you may be afraid of passing away, but not somebody in storage. That would be a horrible scenario to be in.
Yeah.
Thoughts and prayers to the Qatar couple.
Yes, and thoughts and prayers to the family of the woman who passed away mid-flight. I'm glad she went relatively peacefully, I guess.
You don't have a Christian background like I do, but, typically we try to find the bright side of death.
Sure.
And I would say in this situation, she was much closer to heaven.
Yes, that's true. It was only 5 minutes compared to usually a half an hour.
Beam me up, Jesus.
Podcast.